Welcome to the kiwimana Bay. Plant them and they will come, episode 96. This week we are talking about Go the Indians, Killer Backyard Beekeepers, Drunken Fencing Incident Stings Couple, and Who Said Kiwis Have an Accent, and the Riddle of Manuka Honey. This is episode 96 of our Beekeeping podcast.
Absolutely, and thanks this week to Thinking Bee podcast.
Yeah.
They've been supporting us for over 8 months.
Woohoo!
Thanks for all your support, and if you value what we do, please consider supporting us too. And we've got a special feature this week, haven't we?
Okay, tell us more.
If you're a Patreon person, you actually can get a special feed where you get the podcast earlier.
Ooh, so a bit of elitism.
Yes, so if you're one of the Patreon followers, you'll be listening to this a bit earlier than the other people.
Oh, I see. A bit of privilege with that elitism.
I think so.
Oh, awesome.
If you value what we do, please consider supporting us at kiwimana.co.nz/banana. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it, Margaret?
That'd be awesome, yeah. And cool. What's next, Gary?
Well, I'm Gary.
And I'm Margaret.
And we are beekeepers from the hills of Waitaki Ranges in West Auckland. And our podcast is about beekeeping, gardening, and political issues sometimes.
And don't forget, we're on the wild west coast of the North Island in New Zealand.
Absolutely.
And our piece of real estate in terms of our beaches have been used in some pretty highfalutin advertising over in the UK, eh?
Yes, indeed. And it's spring here. And we have recorded this in September 2016. And get your vitamin D out, Kiwis. The sun is struggling to shine. A dull spring so far.
Ain't that the truth, man?
Yes, it's been raining quite heavily, isn't it, lately?
Yeah, heavily, constant. You know, the bees are finding it quite difficult. There's a lot of feeding required at the moment because there's just not a lot of foraging time.
Yes, I know the bees have having a lot of trouble lately. The other day they came out a bit.
Went mental, eh? Because it was like just 1 hour where there was a bit of sun and they just went crazy.
So they're all out emptying their bowels. Anyway, the show notes.
It's called a cleansing flight, Gary. Come on, let's be a bit more refined.
Okay, the show notes for this podcast are kiwi.bz/96, which all the links and references will be available.
And that's where it will lead you to.
And big shout out this week to our listeners in Missouri. In the United States. And Margaret.
Yes?
Did you know that Harry Truman is the only Missouri-born person to ever become the President of the United States?
Well done, Harry.
And thanks for listening to the show. We know life is busy, and we appreciate you've taken the time to join us today.
Yeah, here, guys. And we hope that this will be another one that you'll find of some use or value. And always let us know afterwards what you're thinking.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what has been happening?
We've been down to Wellington.
Oh, yes, that's right. We went to our son's wedding.
Yes, so congratulations, Glenn and Michelle.
Yeah, and the kiddies.
Absolutely. And we went to the Wellington Bee Club.
Yeah, that was interesting. Man, they have quite a membership there, don't they?
There was about 100 people there, eh?
Yeah,
so good.
Yeah, if not more.
And we got to talk a bit about our podcast, and hopefully some people down there are listening to us today. So hello, everyone in Wellington.
Yes, and thank you for your hospitality. And we had a nice cup of tea there and some bickies. That's always a blessing.
Yes, and we got to catch up with a few people, Aaron and Dennis and a few other people.
That's it, and thanks, guys. And also Jim and Jill for their hospitality.
And we've got to meet Frank Lindsay, who was on our podcast a few episodes back.
Yeah, it was an interesting and we enjoyed seeing what they're up to. It's awesome.
Yes, absolutely. And big shout out this week to Lynn Valley Garden Club in Vancouver.
G'day over there.
They've added a link to our podcast on their website. So thanks, guys, for doing that.
Yeah, awesome. Was this a result of something?
No, they just did it.
Wow, so someone's sharing us. So whoever that was, thank you for sharing us with the Lynn Valley Garden Club in Vancouver. Because gardens and bees, what a combination.
Work together for the world.
That's it, guys.
Speaking of working together, Chris and Lauren, who visited here a while back, 7 months back that was, Darryl.
Yeah, Britmana.
From Britmana. They have a new little beekeeper on the way.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh,
know.
Congratulations, guys. So cool.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
We actually interviewed Chris last week, so that should be coming out soon too.
Awesome. And, yeah, good to see their work too. And their, they have their allotment and everything. And I just love what they're doing over there. And, you know, that we can all achieve these kind of things, can't we, really?
Yes, absolutely. Well, Margaret's been very sick, and I have been sick as well. I had a very, very bad case of the man flu. It was almost fatal, guys. I hung in there for you, but... Yeah,
it was a real, pride swelling in my chest just to see how well he was coping with the man flu.
Anyway, it was good. we got through it, and we're back.
Moving along, Gary.
Yes, and we... oh, excuse me.
Okay, is that like for a bit of effect so people really know
exactly
what you've been going through? Well, I think that, that was well appreciated.
And we've got some interviews coming up, lots of people.
And some of these people have been on before, haven't they? Yes,
we've got Phil Chandler, we've got Howland Blakenstone. He's the author of Beekeeping for Dummies.
Oh, yeah, and he's an interesting guy, and I love the way he put his content together. We watched him on a YouTube thing from, which was that? It was a men's club.
A retired men's club, I think.
Yeah, and he did a really good job, and they did a great job of recording him. So we'll put some information in there for you to have a look at that.
Yes, indeed. And we're also interviewing the famous Chris Brown from Sheffield. He's the producer of Sheffield's Best Honey.
If he does say so himself.
Well, no, someone else has said it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that must be pretty blimmin' true then.
Pretty blimmin' true. So that's awesome. We're going to hear all about how he does it.
Oh, that'll be great. And, yeah. And this is an update because Chris has been on before?
Oh, only from a little excerpt that we recorded.
Yeah, so this will be a longer interview with him, so we can find out a bit more about him and Laura.
Yes, I wonder if he can put on that posh English accent for the whole hour.
Sorry, I said Laura. I meant Lauren.
Lauren, yes.
Lauren. Sorry, guys.
And we've got an interview with James Wilkes from Hive Tracks. Let's play a little excerpt of that.
So that's what I was born into. I had bees in my backyard growing up, so it was kind of part of life, back when beekeeping, at least in the U.S., was easier in the 1960s.
Yes, absolutely. So that's going to be coming up soon.
Okay, and what is actually Hive Tracks, if you can just explain a little bit to our listeners?
Hive Tracks is a software designed to keep records of your hive visits and your hive activities. And you put your inspections in. You can put your bee setups, how many hive boxes you've got, and how many what kind of baseboards you've got, and you can keep a record of all your gear.
So is it something you can download on your phone or your computer, or how does that work?
It's yes, you can put it on your smartphone or your iPad, and also you can use it on the browser version, which is any computer can use that.
Oh, okay, that sounds great. Record keeping is very important, especially when you're trying to assess the progression of a hive and how your hive is working through a season.
Yes, absolutely. And if you want to give that a try, you can try it for free for 30 days. Just visit kiwi.bz/hivetracks.
Woohoo!
And that sound is the hoot.
The hoot from the moorpork that sits in our tree outside.
So what have you been doing, Margaret?
Well, Gary, what have I been doing? I've been worrying as I've been in my sick bed thinking about the banana.
I've got some audio about this. Let's have a listen.
Bad bad news. If you're bananas for bananas, they could soon be extinct. A new study's found a deadly triple fungus could see the fruit wiped out in 5 to 10 years. Researchers are desperately trying to find a cure for the Sikatoka complex to save the popular fruit.
Oh, my God.
I know, it's just a travesty, and I sort of have this feeling after hearing about this that they talk about the, fungicides and chemicals needed to save the banana from death. So my mind just went off and said, well, this sounds like a conspiracy to frighten folks into getting the banana growers to buy chemicals. And it also talks about modifying the banana to prevent the spread of bacteria. It sounds to me like a GMO corporate propaganda situation. Conspiracy, I say.
What are they saying causing this fungus?
Well, they're saying that when they start propagating that, the first piece of banana is got some sort of fungus on it or bacteria, and then so they're saying that they're using all this highfalutin conversation to explain the threat to us peasants. And these people make me very angry, and I ask, where did the spore come from in the first place? And they say that it's creating this problem, and wouldn't the banana industry, which is very popular, a multi-million-dollar industry and huge worldwide product, be such a great cash cow to save? And that's what they did with the varroa too. You get these chemicals that are all man-made, and then you're just creating a bigger problem further down the line. So,
Oh, this is shocking.
It does concern me.
Absolutely.
Banana!
It's just going to say that it's bananas, and I hope we can still say that.
I hope. Well, we will. They'll work it out, and it'll be sorted. Don't worry, okay?
Okay, I hope so.
I'll stockpile bananas. And what's the best? Survival of the fittest. Top bar doing well.
Yeah, this is awesome. We had quite a few losses this year, and mainly due to varroa and some other unknown stuff which we talked about previously. So at the moment, the top bar is doing just absolutely bananas, really. And so I'm very proud that one has survived. Just moving along to the next colonies that we will be taking from a Langstreth and putting into a long bench hive, the Kiwi lifestyler. So that's my next job, and it's very exciting.
Awesome, and we've had a delay with beekeeper services because of this flu epidemic that's happened.
Yeah, it was kind of weird because we went down there and spent the week. Maybe I was stressed, I don't know. And then when we drove back to Auckland, which took about 8 hours. And then, we had Dixie Brown waffle on the way in Taupo. Geez, that was yummy.
Yeah, and we also went to Hooker Honey, didn't we?
Yes, we did go to Hooker Honey.
And we got some mead.
Oh, beautiful mead. We got some honeymoon mead for the wedding. And, boy, that's a nice tipple, that's for sure. So
very nice. Yeah. Very nice indeed.
And then came back and, been pretty under the weather. But sorry, folks, we've had to delay some of the beekeeper services. And but I hope to be back on the saddle, by the time this comes out, riding off into the sunset.
Yes, we hope so too. And
all right,
let's move on to blog recap.
Okay, what's been happening, Gary?
Number 1, Beekeeping 101. This is the blog post that we did ages ago, and it's very popular.
Yeah, I think sometimes there's sort of a resurgent depending on the time of the season. So, don't forget that you can search for any kind of content on our front homepage and in the search box, guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you want to visit that Beekeeping 101 page, you can actually go to ilovebeekeeping.com.
Woohoo!
blew my speakers out again.
Oh,
Next one.
I will try to curb my enthusiasm,
It's all right.
as Mark Maron would probably agree.
Yes. Let's move on. Next one is Kiwimana's podcast, Be a Varroa Vigilante. This is number 2.
With a vengeance.
That
Episode.
was our last show.
Yeah, wow, thanks guys. Awesome.
And the third one is a beekeeping clubs in New Zealand. We made a map for all Kiwi beekeepers, or even if you're overseas, because we had someone from overseas asking this, from California.
Yeah, we're thinking of putting one together for over the States and see if people want to do that. And all they do is just list their,
Bee clubs?
their bee clubs and, everyone and contact details, and we can put a link on it for you. So if you're that person, get in touch with us.
Yeah, that'd be it. Yep, that's right.
Is that okay, Gary? You sound a bit hesitant about that because I think the States is pretty big.
Might be a big job, but anyway.
Well, we'll see how we go.
We'll see how we go. Beekeeping news. News you can use.
Absolutely.
What are you laughing at?
I don't know.
First one is, answer me this. What is the riddle of how 1,700 tons of Manuka honey are made, but 10,000 are sold? Something is wrong in the world of Manuka madness. Is all the Manuka really from Manuka trees? This is an article by the Daily Telegraph, wasn't it? No, New Zealand Herald.
Yeah.
About a lot of overseas, there's a lot of Manuka honey being sold, but is it all real?
And also we've become aware that honey export beekeepers need to be registered now. So that's a good thing, because that will control what's going out there and monitor the amounts. So
yes, absolutely.
So
and we've got some disturbing feedback about this coming up, so you'll be interested to see about that.
How does this happen? Why is true Manuka so valuable in its pure form? Well, celebrities know why, and this is a quote from the article. It says, more jars of expensive Manuka honey are being sold in Britain and around the world than are being produced. The prized honey originates from New Zealand, yet demand is so high that supply cannot keep up.
Absolutely. And Manuka honey has a vital ingredient called methoglyoxal, MgO.
I thought that we had a list of the famous people that were using this product.
Well, there's people. Who's the famous person that uses it?
It's in the article. You have to read the article. Oh,
you've got to read the article. There's some famous people that use it.
Yeah.
Including me and Margaret.
I use Manuka honey all the time. This
methodological MgO, maybe there could be a better testing for this to solve this issue, to prove if it is really Manuka honey or not.
I think it's going to be a big picture thing, like lots of different avenues to cover this. But it's a really good article from the New Zealand Herald. Check it out and you'll see if you can find the answer to this riddle.
Absolutely. We've got some great feedback from Edward in Waikato. He emailed you, didn't he? What did he say?
He said, I saw the talk of the book, the biography of an extraordinary honey that Kiwimana did. Hey, that's us. That's us, yeah.
That's when we filmed Cliff Van Eaton's talk.
And Peter Moreland, who discovered the properties of Manuka honey.
Yes.
And it says here about how Manuka honey properties were discovered. It is so important to keep our honey real.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Edward. That is such a good point. We need that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Edward. And this one here is a bit shocking. William Robb.
Senior.
I'm guessing from Australia. Well, considering a New Zealand buyer who I cannot name just bought 3 tons of Australian jellybush honey, MgO 600 to 700 off me to market as New Zealand Manuka. No doubt the question has been answered, I hope.
Oh, that sounds a bit dubious. So that honey can't come into New Zealand, so I don't understand that.
Or maybe they're packaging it as New Zealand honey over there, and they're exporting it to other countries.
Well, he should talk to the authorities, William. Talk to them and, and get that sorted out because, that is a worry.
Dodgy going on there, William.
Thanks for sharing.
And I'd say that's not coming back here because they wouldn't be allowed to import honey.
No,
here.
that's right. That's the way I see it. So, it must be getting dealt with over there. So that's interesting information. So thanks for that, William.
Yes, and Stephen Stewart says sugar and water.
Good question, good question. I think that we have seen some stuff over the years that shows a lot of the Asian market where the honey was being sold and it looked like honey, but it was actually a sugar water mix with flavouring in it. So it's possible.
Absolutely, and James Moore says...
Smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, and what does Chris Cundiff say?
How can I get real Manuka?
Well, you need to go and look at your local area. There may be a bee club there and there may be members there who sell their honey, or the club itself may sell honey or give you a contact. So have a look at our bee club list and get in touch with someone in your area, Chris, and then you can find out if you can get some raw local honey, which is the best ever.
Absolutely. Or go to find a farmer's market. You might find a beekeeper selling their honey there.
Yeah. So, wow, lots of good feedback on this one. So thanks, Edward, William, and Stephen Stewart and James Moore. So awesome.
Absolutely.
And Chris, of course. Cheers, guys.
And we're moving on to drunk couple crash car into Beehive in Kentucky. Picture this.
Okay, picture this, guys. A lone beehive sitting quietly on the side of the road, minding its business. It's next to a power pole. Then it gets attacked by a drunk couple with their car. And best part of this story is the brave farmer sharing his rescue story. This is what I call distraction reporting, because I was more worried about the bees. But as you can see in this article, there was a lot more going on.
Let's play this audio from Kentucky.
Crashing a car was bad enough, but investigators say it led to 2 people inside that car being attacked by bees. It happened last night on Patton Spur Road in Laurel County. Police say a car hit a utility pole and bothered a hive of bees nearby. New tonight, Garrett Weimer talks to someone who lives in that area who saw it all happen.
Neighbors along Patton Spur Road are still, buzzing about what happened.
Well, I just had got done feeding my chickens, watered them and stuff, and I walked back to my house there to get my phone so I could play a video game on it. And all of a sudden, I heard a big boom. I looked back out my door, and the electric pole fell, and the lines were falling, and the geotackler was sideways into the fence.
Then the folks inside the car got a big surprise.
Well, he didn't know it, but he found out that there was a hive of bees that was located there, and he disturbed them.
And there's a guy come out screaming and squalling and running around about like a chicken with his head cut off.
Anderson then says they ran up the road, grabbed a hose outside his home, and started trying to spray off the bees.
I told him he needed to get out of that water, but say I didn't know he was getting eaten up by bees. I thought he was just high.
Deputies say the couple were under the influence of drugs. They say they had driven down the road looking for a place to swim.
That girl in that little bikini, she had a little red dot over her. Right
Even
here.
Gary Lee got stung while he was out there. Needless to say, investigators call it an unusual case, but everyone around here hopes the 2 learned a serious lesson.
Think they learned their lesson?
I'd say by today they are. If they feel like my leg feels, I'd say they're learning.
In Laurel County, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
A painful lesson one way or the other. Deputies say the 2 were taken to the hospital. They say the driver, Noah Elkins, was cited with DUI, and the passenger, Priscilla Simpson, was charged with public intoxication.
Well, there you go, folks.
Screaming and stalking.
Yeah. Live reporting from Gary Lee in his local area after he'd fed his chickens.
Absolutely. That is shocking, isn't it? People crashing into cars.
I know.
What do you expect the bees else to do?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So this is a good article. Have a look at it, guys. And, some of you gave us some feedback. One said, this is Senna Lloyd, and she says...
America?
Okay. And then we've got Alanya Claire, and she says, a lot of laughs. Oh, my. And Chris Andrews says, I need...
subtitles.
So who said Kiwis have an accent?
We don't, but I think that Gary Anderson's got a great accent.
Yeah, we love it. So thanks, Senna, Alanya, and Chris. And, cheers for your feedback, because this was a good one. And let's hope people try not to drink drunk anyway.
No, and especially never drive drunk or drugged or drive into beehives.
I think the last bit's the thing. I was worried more about the bees than anything else, but it was such an amusing story. I thought this is news gold, guys.
And the next story. Here's the Connolly killing mistake backyard beekeepers are making.
This is an article from the USA, and I asked that, is it true that backyard or urban beekeepers are killing honeybees? Well, this story spreads some views which claim this is very definitely the case. So let's see what this article says. You can get the book learning, you can see the YouTubes, you can be told by others, he said. Who is he? He's one of the scientists. But you have to have hands-on experience when you start putting it all together. It now starts making sense. So this is a backyard beekeeper, and let's have a listen to what they've got to say.
Fargo attorney Jonathan Garris is in his third season of beekeeping. He has 9 hives along the Red River just outside of Fargo, near a busy highway.
I've sat out on a chair for 3 or 4 hours just watching the bees coming in and going up. I've watched miraculous landings full of pollen or nectar, and I've seen them crash.
Garris says beekeeping is a rewarding hobby, but it's also a challenge. He lost hives the first 2 years. He's now taken 2 beekeeping classes at the University of Minnesota, and he's confident he'll keep these hives alive.
You can get the book learning, you can see the YouTubes, you can be told by others. You have to have hands-on experience, and when you start putting it all together, it now starts making sense.
Garris opens his hives every 2 weeks to check on the bees. One thing he looks for is mites. If he sees too many of the pinhead-sized parasites on his bees, he applies a chemical treatment. There are also organic mite treatments. But many hobby beekeepers avoid treatments, preferring a natural approach. University of Minnesota bee expert Marla Spivak says the results are often deadly.
National surveys we're doing on bee health and survivorship show that backyard beekeepers, in fact, are taking the greatest losses nationally.
And those losses are often the result of out-of-control varroa mite infestations.
These are parasitic mites that suck on the blood of bees, and they transmit viruses. And the combination of the mite and the viruses is deadly.
Varroa mites arrived in the U.S. nearly 30 years ago, but they've become a bigger problem in recent years. And one reason might just be the backyard beekeepers who don't treat their hives. Spivak says the problem is that untreated hives can spread mites and viruses to other hives within several miles. Healthy bees will invade a dying hive to steal the honey, and when they do, they also carry mites with them back to their hives. U of M bee researcher Rebecca Masterman is seeing more healthy hives rapidly infested with mites and the viruses they carry. She says fall is an especially critical time.
That late season reinfestation means that your bees are going through winter with a lot of mite pressure, and it's really hard for them to come out of that and survive. It's something that is important enough to really try to get every backyard beekeeper in the country to at least be aware of it.
Masterman says a new online mite monitoring project allows beekeepers anywhere in the country to share data on mite infestations. That will help researchers track the spread. Bees face a number of challenges in addition to mites: poor nutrition, disease, and pesticides. Even veteran beekeepers say it takes more effort to keep their bees alive. U of M bee expert Marla Spivak says beekeepers are independent. She doesn't like to tell them how to care for their bees, but she says the mite and virus threat to bees is something that can be controlled.
I really understand why some people might not like to have to treat their bee colony for mites. It just sounds so awful. There's such a beautiful bee colony, and to have to stick some kind of a treatment in there seems so unnatural. But our bees are dying, and it's very important to help do whatever we can to keep them alive.
Spivak says a mite control experiment set up this summer should provide more information about the best methods for treating mites in bee colonies. Covering the environment, Deanne Gunderson, Minnesota Public Radio News, Fargo.
Wow, that's an interesting one. And then there was a comment that the scientists wish every beginner was as diligent by inspecting their hives every 2 weeks.
Yes, and it seems to be pointing to they seem to be blaming treatment-free beekeepers.
Yeah, I think, oh man, we have got some feedback on this one, and I think there's been a bit of feisty talk about this particular article.
Let's talk about this first.
Okay.
I love his comments about seeing on the YouTubes.
And like on the Facebooks and
the interwebs.
And the interwebs.
It's good to see they mentioned organic treatments. You don't have to put chemicals in your hives. But that reinfestation was a good, interesting answer, because we've had similar things happen here, eh? We've had like the hive gets cleared of mites, and all of a sudden they're all back.
Yeah, I think it's true.
Later.
Yeah.
That's
shocking.
That
did happen this year, because I treated for 4 weeks and the hive was looking really good and the mite levels were really low. But then within 3 weeks they were infested because we had a longer foraging session because of the weather. So, and this is the thing that we really need to do, is that I think it's about monitoring. It's very important. Anyway, let's have a listen to the feedback. And
but just that one more thing, that mite monitoring thing sounds good. So check out that link, guys, because that's interesting project. And what's the feedback?
Okay, well,
feisty talk, I hear.
Yes, Sam from the South Island in New Zealand said he phoned us to say that beginners are real pain. Okay, then.
Well,
Sam.
not all of them, Sam.
Well, Paul from West Auckland says too many are idiots who don't know what they are doing. Okay, all right.
Feisty talk, Paul.
Feisty. And Lyle Kearns, what does he say?
Lyle says, I had a talk with Lyle the other day, I struggle to understand how a mite issue in a hive miles away equates to a mite issue with my bees. Any enlightenment, please?
Oh, man, we've got plenty of enlightenment here. We've got tangents. We've got everything.
Well, Margaret responded. It's all about foraging. We took some photos of some bees as they were coming back to the hive, and we even saw a varroa on the pollen sacs of one of our girls when she came home. So then the varroa will start breeding, and they only have one male that they breed, and then once they're in the cells, man, it can be, within 3 weeks dead colony. And without monitoring, they can double in population in 30 days. And our handy hint today is that about varroa if you're a beekeeper. If you don't know about how to keep bees and what the threats are to bees, go and do a course. Get some help. Go to the clubs. Ask them what is a threat to a bee. Yes, buy a book.
Yeah, and they talk about this season being so heavily with the varroa, and over in America it's the same thing. Everybody, in my view, should treat at the same time 4 times a year. That means every season do a varroa treatment. Use organic products, which are merely concentrates of oils, or you can vaporize with the oxalic acid, and these ones are proven not to have any long-term effects on the bees. They are concentrating, especially with the oxalic acid, they concentrate on the varroa. So when you talk to me about being treatment-free, you're talking about not treating the bees, but the problem is that you're actually not treating the bees, you're treating the varroa.
But a treatment-free beekeeper would say you're just propping up weak bees.
Well, they're only weak because they've allowed the varroa to get into the hive. That's where my concern is if you kill the varroa, the target, with an organic treatment like oxalic acid vaporization, you are actually killing the varroa. Other oil concentrates are actually targeted for beekeeping or bee behavior, so they groove more.
Groovy.
Hey, that's a good one. That's a lovely Freudian. They're all grooving in the hive when you put in your thyme or your oils, and that means that the bees are grooming a lot more heavily. But the actual oxalic acid is proving to be one of my real favourites, and it does affect the varroa, and that's what you want to do. And unfortunately, the treatment-free guys, they're just letting their hives die, and it's actually the varroa they should be targeting, not the bees.
Yes, controversial stuff there. Any comments? Send them to Margaret at kiwimana.
That's it, guys. I'm ready for it. I got broad shoulders. Going off, and more of information is that do the monitoring regularly, every 2 weeks at least. Do some natural mite falls.
Yep. Or sugar shake.
Yeah, an inspection board with oil so that you can catch what falls on it. And do cell checks, because that's when you really have the actual what's going on in the cells. Drones at this time of the year in New Zealand, we have drone management frames where you can grow your bees in a frame that the queen or the colony decides they want to put drones in there, and that's where a lot of varroa choose to go because the cells are a lot bigger. So it's monitoring, and then treating 4 times a year. That's my advice to you.
Okay.
Yay!
Good advice. And we had some we had some feedback from Lyle Cairns from our video we had. It was a video of me introducing our YouTube channel, and he asked, how do we keep things so beautiful in New Zealand? And I answered back, shampoo and moisturiser.
With honey-based products.
I don't think he was meaning me, but I thought it was funny. Anyway, let's move on to some good news. Monsanto is losing millions.
Yay!
This article is a must-read for buyers of consumers of weed killers, fungicides, herbicides, and insecticides.
Yeah.
What's this about, Margaret?
Well, Gary, I know that you are the ninja fighter against
labeler.
Labeler of these terrible things, chemicals that are provided for gardeners and such like. Anyway,
a senior politician the other day told me he doesn't think that. He says that's a good idea, but he wouldn't admit it.
Well, he would have to put a disclaimer in there with that, even though he supports the action of making people aware.
Ninja labelling.
Yeah.
So what's happening in India?
Well, this is farmers from India, so they're Indian farmers, and they plant indigenous seeds, and their government is supporting the farmers with this. It's fantastic. We should all be doing this in our countries and local areas. We need to say yes to natural and native seeds. And however, this article talks about the cost involved for the people and the farmers of India before they finally got to this point. So what's this quote there from the article, Gary?
After the deaths of more than 200,000 farmers over the past 200,000
for the past 10 years.
It seems that this company will finally pay for its misdeeds. The government in India has finally decided to actively promote the use of indigenous seeds. In addition, they want to get rid of Monsanto and its products. Because I know a lot of people, farmers in India, have been committing suicide because they get in so much debt to these seed companies, not just Monsanto, and they can't cope. Is that right? 200,000? That's terrible.
That's huge. This will really be an eye-opener, Guy, if not eye-watering. If not eye-watering, because they are talking about actual farmers killing themselves because of this situation, and
they're finding that the seed, the indigenous seed, is actually performing better than the imported seed. So that's awesome, isn't it?
I think that I just say yay to the Indian government, and we just wish you guys all the best with it.
Yes, good luck, guys. It's awesome.
And sorry for those losses, and now moving forward, we hope all the very, very, very best for you.
Absolutely, and we got some feedback from Margaret.
Yeah, you guessed it, guys.
Is it you again?
I'm sorry, I had to say something.
Margaret said, you guessed it, sad to think of loss of life, but also the cost to the environment for these families and these farmers and local families. Shame on Monsanto and shame on their CEO and board members for agreeing to this kind of business model. And that's our opinion.
Hear, hear, Margaret.
Next story.
Okay, it says, can't get it out of the comb. Oh, that sounds painful.
This is a good article.
A prick of a thing.
And Margaret, yes, exactly. And this is about crystallization. And interestingly, did you know Tupelo honey, which almost never granulates?
You mean Tupelo?
Tupelo honey.
Tupelo?
Speaking of Tupelo honey.
See the sweet, see the sweetest Tupelo honey. Just like honey, baby, from the bee.
Wow. Van the Man.
When Van the Man sings about honey, you've got to believe him, don't you?
You've got to believe him. It's got to be true, guys.
And we also know that the primary cause of granulation, we talked about this a couple of episodes ago, eh?
Yeah.
Is the honey glucose to moisture ratio.
Ah.
And this is a great article.
Yeah, this one's a bit more about the analysis of the crystallization in some honeys. So this is relevant to over in the States, isn't it?
Yeah, this is written by Ron, and he's from Canada. He's coming on the podcast soon. And it's a great scientific discussion about crystallization. I think this was actually published in the American Beekeeping Journal as well.
Beekeeping blog?
No, journal.
Journal, oh, okay.
Like a magazine.
Cool.
So, yeah, this is all about what to do with crystallized honey and how to prevent it. So I encourage you to check it out, and we apologise to Van Morrison.
And the other thing is that it says in here that Tupelo honey, which almost never granulates. So this article will tell you a bit about what's happening over there, and you'll enjoy this.
Yes, and he mentions canola honey or rapeseed honey. It always granulates, apparently. And no feedback on this one.
Yeah, what are you guys up to out there?
Exactly.
Jeez Louise.
Well, that kind of ties up to our next one. Quit your job and become a beekeeper. This article from the UK, this is from Time Out, a London magazine.
Excellent.
Gives some basic information about becoming a beekeeper. And what have you said here? Get a haircut.
Yeah, get a haircut and get a real job. Oh, nah. Want to live the dream, eh, Gary?
I do want to live the dream. But, yes, interesting. And this is an interview with Hannah Reeves, an apprentice beekeeper for the London Honey Company. An article from the Time Out magazine in London. And it's interesting to see that they travel to their bee yards on the tube, which is the underground trains.
Oh, geez, you remember when we were living in London and we were carrying, you always going on those tubes and everything, and then at night when you get home, your nose, when you blow your nose, it's black. Remember that?
All the soot.
Oh, awful, man. But, sorry.
This is a great article, isn't it? So check it out.
Yeah, it's great. It's it means that, there are options out there, guys. So go to London and then you can get a job.
Absolutely, and that'll be on the show notes at kiwi.bz/96. And moving on to a positive story from some young people down in the South Island.
Yeah, this is a good story. It's Pupils Honey Huts creating a buzz nationwide. Enterprising youngsters in the South Island put together a project creating a buzz by building outside the box, the honey box, that is. This is a great local story.
Yes, on our last podcast we talked about some great kids up north, and they were having... So it's great to see these stories, isn't it?
Yeah, the kids were on the one we did last time was about them having a project to use some vacant land and make it productive. And this is another story which gives me faith in our kids' futures.
Yeah, and the kids are actually doing a business for a year, and they're producing beekeeping boxes and selling them to local beekeepers. Shall we hear from Nadia?
Okay.
I'm the Managing Director of Kaika Biko at Kaika Valley College, and we're part of the Lions Foundation Young Enterprise Scheme. And so we've set up a business that's going to run for the entirety of the year. So this year we've decided to build beehives. So far we've made 140 hives, and our first lot of 100 is just being sent away today. And so we've been making premium grade pine hives, and we're just going to start making recycled Remu hives. Yeah, the recycled Remu has been salvaged from around our school, and we're really concerned with having as little waste as possible and making our product as eco-friendly as possible. Yeah, we've definitely had a lot of orders, and we've had to consider what we are going to be able to do as well as around our schoolwork, because there's only 4 of us, and before this we didn't really have any experience with woodworking or anything like that, so we've just had to learn as we go. Yeah, we do pretty much everything ourselves. We're planning on building a couple of recycled Remu hives that we'll donate to our urban farm concept at the end of the year, just as a thanks to the school for letting us use all their equipment and time and stuff. I think we thought we'd be making maybe 20 to 50 hives over the course of a year, but so far we've made 140 in the first few months of production, which has been above and beyond what I think all of us expected.
Wow, that's fantastic. A buzz, yeah. Now, thanks, Nadia, Bella, Kaz and Ashley, and they have established the Kaika Biko. So it's a Lion Foundation Young Enterprise Scheme, and I think, this is what the future's about. Kids creating their own work and learning about business, and so they can be free of the system and create their own business. So well done, guys. That's fantastic.
Absolutely, guys. Fantastic. Let's move on to questions from you. First one from Brandy in Dallas, USA. Dallas, Texas. When is the best time to transport bees you buy online?
Okay, well, isn't this... my answer would be check with the person you buy it from, because they will arrange all that for you.
Yes, I've never bought a bee online, but that's interesting.
What we do here in New Zealand is we generally sell the colony, then we invite the purchaser to come in, and then we take them through the whole hive so they can see what they're getting, and then they take it home with them.
Yeah, but I think in America they have packaged bees, and I think they send them through the mail. It's basically a queen with a whole lot of bees, eh?
Yeah, we've seen some systems in Germany, which is a tough way to have a colony, but the best time is usually at night when everybody's at home and all the girls are together, and then you close the entrance if it's a working hive online. Well, as I said, I think you need to check with the person you're...
Absolutely.
Because they'll be ringing you. Don't they ring you at 4:30 a.m. and tell you to go down to the local depot to pick up your bees?
Oh, that's right.
Because none of the staff want the bees stuck there.
Yes, that was from Howard's talk, wasn't it?
Howland, yeah.
Howland's. Yes, indeed. And we've actually got an article about how we move bees here in New Zealand, and that'll be on the show notes. It's called How to Move a Beehive.
Fantastic. And what's this? How do beekeepers keep hornets away? This is a good question.
And this is Bryson from York, and this is some news from England that the Asian hornets have arrived in England, and they've got some down in south of England. I think they've been having the problems in France, and we talked to James from Japan a while back, and he had some good ideas. He had some traps that he's made or got, and basically the hole on the entrance is too small for the hornet to get in, so you can do some kind of like a robbing screen, eh?
Yeah, robbing screen with maybe an entrance reduction as well, and that will at least give the bees an area to defend the hive, and then the entrance reduction, which would be behind the robbing screen as the bees will go into the hive. If that's a very small entrance, just enough for the bees, that might be the way to go, I think.
Yes, absolutely. We'll include a link in there to the talk talked with James about his bees
Yeah,
in
because
Japan
he's actually dealing with it, so that's
every day.
Yeah, check that out, Bryson.
Absolutely, and we've got a question from Zena in Christchurch. How do you attract a swarm of honeybees? It's the time of year now to get your swarm boxes out there, isn't it? So how do you attract bees into a swarm box? I've got some ideas.
Sometimes it pays to wait till they actually swarm, but then where are they coming from? So we have got an article that we've got about, how do you get bees in New Zealand, and that one's got some information further down if you scroll through it about swarms. Some people put out hive boxes that have had honey in them before. Some people put out boxes that have got lemongrass oil in them, which is very attractive to the bees. What are your ideas, Gary?
Yeah, you can use lemongrass oil, or there's a product called Swarm Commander that's out. You can buy across the world, I think, now, and that helps too. Apparently, people have had good success with that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think just you put them up about 6 or 7 metres in a tree, and try and put them facing the entrance, facing towards the entrance to the area, or the break in the canopy.
Yeah.
And it's about the time of year that we should be putting up our swarm lures now, isn't it?
Yeah, generally it's a box that's attached with a long piece of rope that you can haul the box up into the canopy, and those ones are pretty good. So yeah, guys, there's lots of ways to do it. You could also just go on the swarm list.
Yes, you can join the local swarm list. So Kiwimana has one, or your local bee club probably has one.
Yeah, so check out our bee club list, and then add your name to their swarming list in your local area, and that's a good way to do it, and then you might get some help as well.
Absolutely. And if you've got any questions, email us at info@kiwimana.co.nz, or you can leave a message on our speak pipe on the right-hand side of our site, and we could hear your lovely voice with a question.
That's it, and we will get back to you.
Random review. This is where we read a random review.
Excuse me, can I say something before this?
Sure.
I just want to thank our listeners for listening to all the coughing and spluttering and snivelling that's going on through this episode due to the flu.
Yes, sorry guys.
Our apologies.
I will try and edit as much of that out as I can.
Yeah, so, okay, Gary, random review. What's happening?
What's this? Yeehaw. Yes, folks. We have our first winner. Oh, we've had lots of winners, just only the first one to claim it.
Ah, that's a very good point. Yes, this is our winner that's actually claimed it. So read on to find out more and why we do this.
Yes, we give a $30 voucher for buying some products to a person that left a review over the last month. And this contest will close 2 weeks after this release, or the 19th of October.
Yeah, it's a small thank you to our customers who tell us about what they think about the product they got from us, about our delivery service, etc. Sometimes we do well, sometimes we make mistakes, but we still want to hear about it. So this is for you to say thank you. So yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Let's draw a number. We use random.org. Let's generate a random review.
The winning number is
02.
02. Who's 02?
So number 2 is
Kat. She purchased a screen bottom board from Kiwimana. Awesome. Results straight away. Within hours, the dirty little varroa could be counted easy as.
Awesome.
Also, not having to open the box and annoying the girls is the best. Thanks, Gary and Margaret. Oh, thanks, Kat, for buying it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And
thanks, Kat. So if you want to, if you get in touch,
I just want to say that we randomly select one product review each month, but we only announce the winner on our podcast. So get your ears on, guys, and have a listen to our podcasts.
Absolutely. If you don't listen to the podcast, you'll never know you won.
That's it.
And last month, Jim West won, and he is going to buy a new beekeeping jacket for the new season. So that's going to be awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, congratulations, Jim, and we hope that, your jacket is just the blessing that we know it will be, and we hope that Kat gets in touch very soon.
Absolutely, and we'll have a whole lot of new jackets and suits coming in soon. They're on their way, and we'll have them soon, and we'll make a mention on the newsletter when we get them.
Okie dokie. So what are we up to now? Feedback from you guys.
Yes, feedback from you guys. This first one is from iTunes. This is where people leave iTunes reviews on our podcast. And this one was from Rapid Rooster.
Rabid Rooster. Five stars, man. From the US of A.
He says, great resource, interesting content. And he says he binged on 10 episodes or so this weekend while decluttering his office.
Great.
Wow. I love that term, binged. We like that, with TV shows.
Yum, yum, yum. Chocolate biscuits come to mind.
We watch Sheriff Longmire, don't we?
He's in Wyoming, isn't he?
He is. He is. I like the combination of interviews and original content from Gary and Margaret. They mix up the content enough and have the chops and personality to keep up the show for many years to come. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rooster. I also appreciate that they cross-pollinate and promote other quality podcasts and individuals, which increases the value of listening to the Kiwimana Buzz. Keep up the excellent work. Wow. Thank you.
That is fantastic. Thanks so much, Rabid Rooster, for getting back to us and sharing your feedback. I think that, I just feel really, happy that is what's happening out there, and we do really appreciate you guys taking time to listen, and we do hope that, the things we talk about are of value to you too.
Absolutely, and he mentioned there about other podcasts. If you go to our site under resources, there's other beekeeping podcasts. And I heard a rumour.
Okay.
I heard a rumour that Aaron and Lauren from Jennings Apiaries are restarting the podcast.
Oh, fantastic.
So check that out, guys. They're gonna have an interview with Hilary Cooney coming up soon.
Ah, is she the girl next door?
Girl next door, honey.
Oh, my God. And you know what else is awesome? We love to share stuff, guys, because we are all part of this wonderful beekeeping community and this earth that we share. And if you've got anything you want to share with us, just email us at info@kiwimana.co.nz and let us know what you're doing to help the bees or the environment, and we'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely, and we've had some great more sound clips for our 100 show. We'll have some more coming up soon. And this month's special mission, dun dun dun.
Dun dun.
Can you guys share this podcast with a friend, please?
Yeah, please.
Please, just share it with one beekeeping friend. That'd be awesome.
In case you hadn't noticed, guys, Gary was on his knees begging that you share it.
And you can either do that by burning it onto a CD or taking it around or putting it in social media. There's click links on the top of the page to share it with your social medias if you're into social medias. Appreciate that, guys, and I appreciate you coming along this week.
Or you can get someone to load the software straight onto your phone.
Yes, smartphones. You can put a podcast app on there. I think, don't iPhones already have one? They have the thing called podcasts.
Well, guys, get in there, share it. Yeah.
Search for Kiwimana, and then after that, search for beekeeping and find all the other ones.
Yeah. So awesome. Thanks, guys. And this is coming to the end of this episode, and we're still doing our preparations for our 100th episode, so don't be shy. Get on there. Send us a message. We want to hear it, guys.
Absolutely, and make sure you subscribe, because in a couple of weeks we'll have a podcast with James Wilkes from Hive Tracks, and that's going to be awesome, isn't it?
Such a wonderful tool, and you guys will find out more about it if you listen to James.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys, for coming along.
See ya.